Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our March 25th, 2025 monthly Inland Coalition on Aging. My name is Carmen Estrada. I'm the Executive Director of Inland Caregiver Resource Center, as well as the Treasurer for the Inland Coalition on Aging. Very happy to have you all here on this month of March, which is also Social Work Month. And so we want to show appreciation for all our social service providers. And for that reason, we have a great presentation lined up for you today, a training on trauma-informed care. Before we go to our presenter, I'm going to go over some updates and review of the last meeting that we had held last month. Go ahead and go on to the next slide, please, Janelle. Next one. And so the last meeting that we had back in February, we focused on disaster preparedness, and we had a training by William Wood and Genesis Hernandez from Rolling Start. Thank them for their wonderful presentation. We went over how to conduct disaster preparedness training for our clients, and we also emphasized the importance of being prepared, having a plan, and also practicing scenarios. Sometimes we create a plan, but we don't practice. And so thanks, William and Genesis, for all that information. You have a link here on the slides with resources. We will be sending out the slide deck of our presentation today, as well as the recording. In case you don't want to take notes and just listen, we will have that information up for you on our website soon after the meeting. Next slide, please. I'm going to go over some updates. As you know, the Inland Coalition on Aging, our main project at this time is creating a local Inland Empire Master Plan for Aging. And so we've been having weekly meetings that started 2 weeks ago on every Monday to discuss the 5 goals that we're concentrating our master plan on. We had a presentation so far on housing and transportation, and this is to inform providers that may be interested in collaborating with us to implement the plan. And so, we've been spending the past 2 years creating this master plan for our Inland Empire, but that's just the beginning. We need your help in implementing the plan. So these weekly presentations we've been doing on the master plan have been to inform you, answer any questions, and explain different ways we can collaborate. So if you haven't registered as a partner yet for the plan, please scan the QR code on the screen. So you can do that. And you can also scan to register for the remaining meetings that we have. March 31st, we will be going over caregiving, Alzheimer's, and other dementia. In addition to that, we've been receiving a lot of constant contacts from us. There's a lot of advocacy going on right now, but we're also going to be sending out an email to conduct an annual survey of our Inland Coalition on Aging members. So we're going to be asking you to fill out a survey for demographic information, and that's to help us see if there are any gaps in the services that we are providing. And so please, I encourage you to fill out that survey once you receive it. In addition to that, some of the outreach that the coalition is doing, we're going to be presenting at the IHSS Public Authority Caregiver Spring Training Event Summit on April 9th. And so we're going to be doing some outreach there. Next slide, please. And then lastly, speaking about advocacy, we know there's a lot of things going on right now, in our state, in our nation. And so we are going to be sending out a lot of calls to action. We need your support to call legislators or to get clients for us that might be interested in sharing their stories. Specifically, we have an opportunity for anybody who's interested to join us on Senior Advocacy Day, which is May 6th and 7th, when we will be meeting virtually with several legislators in our Inland Empire to share with them what our concerns are and what we would like their support on. So if any of you are interested in participating in that advocacy day, please send us an email at info@inlandaging.org so that we can get you prepped. We will have a few meetings before the actual May 6th and 7th days so that we can prepare to meet with our legislators. And then finally, as always, please share information on the work that we're doing. You can find our marketing tools at inlandaging.org. And of course, follow us on LinkedIn. We post several announcements on there throughout the month to stay informed. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our keynote presenter, Nisha Elliott. She's an LMFT. She's going to be presenting on trauma-informed care, and she is the Workforce Education and Training Manager for Riverside University Health System Behavioral Health. Again, this is in alignment with it being Social Work Month. We want to help our social service providers enhance their skills in the way they provide services to clients. And it's extremely important to do so with a trauma-informed care mindset. All right, Nisha, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. So I just want to make sure that you are aware that I'm super excited to be in this space to talk about trauma-informed care. Trauma-informed practices is the core of what we do here in behavioral health. So I really, really am excited to share this information with you. So if I'm too excited, it's just because I love what I do. So again, my name is Nisha Elliott, and I'm the Workforce Education and Training Manager. I'm also a licensed marriage family therapist, and I am a trauma-informed systems trainer for the department. It is actually a mandatory training that everyone has to take so that they can understand what trauma-informed care is. And so I'm going to share that with you in just a moment. But before we get started in our presentation for today, I hope that you can honor me by allowing us to set the space so that we can be ready to receive information. So if you can get settled in your seats, and I'm going to do the same, because when you present, you're all anxious and like, oh, I hope I do a good job. So I need to settle as well. So I'm going to be mindful and settle in my seat. And if everyone is already settled, if you want to bring your gaze down or you want to close your eyes, it's totally up to you. I'm just going to take us through a quick breathing activity, and it's called the 4-1-5 activity. We're going to inhale through our nose for 4. We're going to pause for 1, and then we're going to release for 5. We want our release to be longer than our inhale so that it can start to ground us and settle our breathing. All right, so I'm going to guide us through that. Again, if you want to bring your gaze down or close your eyes, totally up to you. All right, we're going to inhale through our nose for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and pause and exhale for 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last time, inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Now you can do a big exhale and clear the space. I want to thank you for joining me in that activity. I'm going to share my screen to get us started in our conversation today. And I am just going to move this down so I can start from the beginning. All right. So, trauma-informed care. I want you to realize that it starts with you. That is so super important in the work that we do because we want to know ourselves in the system and how we function in the system. So we're going to break it down so that we can talk about what that looks like. So before we get to that, I want to give us a definition because having shared language is key when we're talking about trauma-informed care. So we're going to have shared language throughout this conversation this morning. So trauma-informed care. The important thing is for us to remember that it's not what's wrong with you, it's what happened to you. So we really want to shift the perspective. And it's not that we're asking the person in front of us what's wrong with you or what's happening to you. It's really our mindset. We want to shift it from focusing on what is wrong and judging the person to focusing on what's happening with that person in front of you today. So I'm just going to read this so that we can have that shared understanding. A trauma-informed approach to care acknowledges that healthcare organizations and care teams need to have a complete picture of a patient's life situation, past and present, in order to provide effective healthcare services with a healing orientation. To do so, service providers have to understand their role in trauma-informed care. So as I mentioned, I'll be sharing a lot about our role. how it starts with self. So let's get on the same page as to what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the why behind trauma-informed care. Like, why should we shift this mindset to a trauma-informed approach? Why will we shift what's wrong to what has happened? We're going to focus on the who behind trauma-informed care. And it's more than just the client, consumer, or member. And for today, I'm just going to use consumer to make it easier. The what in trauma-informed care, the principles behind trauma-informed care. And so if you look it up, some people have differing principles, but they all align with each other. So you'll also find 6 principles that I'm going to share with you today that align with everything out there in the world that says it's about trauma-informed care. The how in trauma-informed care. So once we talk about these principles, how do we implement them in our life and what we do? And the reason why I said life is very important, and hopefully you'll dig it out as I talk to you today, applying it to our life. And then last but not least, the when in trauma-informed care. So why should we wait? Should we or should we not? We'll talk about that. All right, so let's get right into it. The why behind trauma-informed care. So the why behind trauma-informed care is super important because we want to know why we're doing this. What's the point? As some people say, it's the with them. What's in it for me? That's the reason why we want to know why it's important to change or transform into a trauma-informed care system. So one of the first things we look at is engagement. So regardless of the spectrum, the young to the mature adults, everybody wants to be engaged. They want a reason to come to get services, right? So the engagement helps to improve the customer's outcomes as well. So patients with trauma have difficulty maintaining healthy, open relationships with the healthcare provider. Trauma-informed care helps in developing a trusting relationship with their provider. So when we think about different cultures and how they've been impacted by a system, they're going to walk in the door with something, right? And so being that we all walk in the door with something as providers, we have to be mindful that somebody might be coming in with a lot of trauma from care providers or from institutions and systems. So if we meet them where they are, to be open and listen to that, then we can be a better care provider by meeting their need and engaging them in a healthy way possible. One of the reasons how we can engage them is in alignment with treatment adherence. And that's the next topic that improves a person in services as well as improves and helps in trauma-informed care. Trauma-informed care offers the opportunity for the consumer to engage more fully in their health. So, how many of us sit down and really say, how can I serve you? What do you want the outcome to be in these resources? I'm going to raise my hand and say, when I was a new clinician 24 years ago, when I started in behavioral health, I thought I was the expert and I'm just going to tell you how to do your care plan, right? So we would have to develop a care plan and I'd write it out for my consumer and have them sign it when they came back. Needless to say, a lot of my consumers failed because I did not know them and I didn't ask them to participate in their care development. Once my supervisors knew that, they helped me to realize that there's 2 experts in the room. I'm the expert as it relates to behavioral health and our skills and our abilities and our techniques and interventions, but our consumer sitting in front of us is an expert in their life. They might not be functioning at their highest level when they come to us, but they know about their life. So partnering with them and asking them to be a part of the process is key, and it helps with treatment adherence. The other thing that it helps to improve a trauma-informed system is the health outcomes. Improving long-term health outcomes. Being trauma-informed can help people overcome the effects of trauma. And so we have to realize that trauma can happen in a community situation and by individuals, and healing can also happen that same exact way. So knowing that we can support people in being consistent with their treatment and having trusting connections with the provider, that helps with health outcomes. So that is really important. But last but not least, the why is that it also helps the provider and their colleagues. So when it comes to trauma-informed care, remember I said in your life, One of the things that was super important for me with being a trauma-informed systems trainer is adopting the practices in my life. So as we started off with that mindfulness technique, that is heavy in trauma-informed care, people learning to care for themselves with self-soothing techniques. So learning those techniques and applying them in your life, whether it be at work, whether it be with the consumer, whether it be with your colleague, applying those skills can help you as well and reduce burnout because you're implementing things to help you stay safe at work. So these are the whys behind trauma-informed care. Let's get to the who. So, as I mentioned earlier, trauma-informed care is not just about the consumer. So, most of the times when we take trainings or hear a speaker, we think, how can this help our consumer? How can this help our consumer? But it's not just about your consumer. Trauma-informed care is about your colleague as well. So, instead of them walking in and them being frustrated, and you look at them like, oh my goodness, what's wrong with them? Is this Moody Monday or what? You pause and think about something may have happened to them on the way to work, or something may have happened to them in their lives, just like something may have happened to you. And you would want someone to pause and be compassionate with you. So that's how trauma-informed care is important, is that it's not only for our consumers, but we want to meet our colleagues in that same space. Maybe something happened to them this morning. For me, sometimes I come in because there's people on the road who do not use their gas pedal. I'm like, go, go, go. We got to get to work. Go, go. So I come in with a little bit of that stressor on me. And hopefully I don't present that myself at work like that. But if I do, I will want my colleagues to be compassionate. Next, it helps you as the provider. Remember, I said you might want to use some of the skills to help stress reduction and help to make sure you have a stable routine and help provide a safe and healthy environment at work. So once you sit back and realize, okay, maybe my desk is chaotic and I'm showing up for my consumer and my coworkers in a chaotic manner, maybe I need to take a look at myself. So remember, I said we're going to focus on self. Taking a look at ourselves in trauma-informed care is super important. How do I present to those who I'm caring for is super key. So not only our consumers, but our coworkers and ourselves. Next up, let's talk about the background of trauma-informed care. What are the principles behind trauma-informed care? So the what in trauma-informed care is key because we could talk about it all day. Oh, we need to provide trauma-informed care. Oh, let's provide trauma-informed care. But if we don't know the what in trauma-informed care, we're most likely not going to be successful. So I'm going to use these 6 principles as walls of our program. And I'm going to use the concept of load-bearing walls. So I'm going to pause because maybe some of you didn't grow up with a father in construction. So load-bearing walls are those walls that keep our house and structures intact. And so if there's a crack in the load-bearing wall, we might have some problems because that's our foundation. So today we're going to talk about our load-bearing walls. And those are the what's in trauma-informed care, okay? And we have 6 of them. So our load-bearing walls are going to be understanding trauma and stress, culture, humility, and equity, safety and stability, compassion and dependability. We're going to talk about collaboration and empowerment. We're going to talk about resilience and recovery. Those are going to be the walls that we focus on during our time today. Let's get into understanding stress and trauma. So I am a very interactive speaker, so hopefully you will join me in this. But those out there, I maybe want you to go in the chat or pop off your mic and read. So if somebody can read this guiding principle for me, that would be wonderful.
This is Dakota. I'll read it.
Awesome.
Trauma-informed system, core guiding principle, understanding trauma and stress. Learning about the psychobiology of stress, toxic stress, and trauma is liberating for people. It gives us explanatory reasons for some of the puzzling behaviors we engage in and the feelings that can come to dominate us.
Yes. Thank you, Dakota. I appreciate you reading for us. So I want everyone to go in the chat and type me if you have not had to deal with any stress in these last few days? Just type me in the chat. Me. I haven't had to deal with any trauma and stress. I don't see any comments. Me, I haven't. Exactly. We all have to deal with some stress. So we all have a stake in the game at helping to reduce stress. And we also have a stake in the game of helping to provide a trauma-informed system that is not stress-inducing. So now type in the chat something that you do at work to reduce your stress. Let me see what pops up in this chat. What do you do at work to reduce your stress? Go on walks. Excellent. Go on walks. I love it. Beautiful. Step away. Take break. Talk to coworkers. Reading. Breathe. Yes, this is wonderful. You should have put on this training. Everybody knows what to do. Listen to music. Yes, I love that. Playing relaxing music. These are beautiful, beautiful comments. I love that. Some of us, and I'm saying us, the collective of us, don't apply stress reducing activities in our day-to-day basis. So things that you want to think of, having a good smelling herbal tea, you are on point. Meditate, hug my pups, exercise, break, big glass of cool water, step outside, enjoy plants. Love it. So as it relates to that, trauma-informed systems and care systems have to have workers who implement their trauma-informed and stress-reducing practices. So you hit them all. Physical movement, you mentioned walking. Tactile grounding or smelling things, that's wonderful. Drinking water is key. We just don't drink enough water, but drinking water is key. Breathing, we started off with a mindfulness activity. That's important. Connection, someone said talking to somebody. Connection is key to reducing stress at work. And then, of course, we need to eat well. We need to exercise in general. And this is my hardest thing that I don't get to do. So if anybody sees it in the store and they sell it, is sleep. I don't care how much sleepy time tea I take. Sleep, I just don't get enough sleep. So that is super important to help to reduce stress. Now let's pause for a moment. That's us as providers that may have that as a resource. But some of our consumers don't understand that they have to implement stress reducing things in their day-to-day activities, right? They come to us stressed. So let's think about this. There is a brain hand activity or model that looks like this. So I can't see some of you, and some of you have your cameras off, but if you can take your hand and go like this, bring your thumb in the middle, and then bring those fingers down over that thumb. This is the hand brain model. And what it is showing us is that this is our rational brain. This is our frontal lobe. It makes good decisions, makes good choices, does good with planning. But when we're stressed or we have to deal with trauma, our lid flips. So that part of our brain flips back, and rational thinking, all those planning resources go out the window, and we are here. We're in fight or flight mode. We are functioning as if we're running from a bear. Our body is going wild. We're trying to stay safe. And so for us, we might go for a walk, we might go talk to a friend, we might read something, we might turn on our music, we might smell something, and then we get our lids back on. But some of the people we serve don't have those skills, and they function with this. Their lid is flipped. And so they come to us with their lid being flipped, and we forget to help them try to get that lid back on so that we can serve them. So a trauma-informed system understands that our people may walk in the door that way. And when they walk in the door, instead of we're saying, oh my goodness, what is wrong with them? They're screaming, they're yelling, they're fussing. We say, oh my goodness, something happened to them. So now let's do the work to get the lid back on. So understanding that we all have to deal with stress, and most people have experienced at least one trauma in their life, helps us to serve better and helps us to serve differently. All right, so we're going to our next guiding principle, culture, humility, and equity. Can someone come off their mic and read that for us?
I can.
Thank you.
Trauma-informed system, core guiding principle, culture, humility, and equity. We come from diverse social and cultural groups that may experience and react to trauma differently. When we are open to understanding these differences and respond to them sensitively, we make each other feel understood and equity is advanced.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So one of the powerful parts is respond to them sensitively. So there's a concept that is cultural competence, which is a wonderful concept. But as we learned a little bit more about cultural competence, some of the shift has been to cultural humility. And cultural humility is that I am simply humble in front of the person that's in front of me, meaning that I'm an African American married woman with children. And one of my consumers may come in who is an African American woman married with children as well. Cultural competency says, I know her life, so I can come in here and serve her the way I think she needs the service. Cultural humility says I'm humble enough to learn from her because there may be some cultural differences that are not like mine, even though we have some similarities that I need to learn from her. So cultural humility is always being in the learner's seat. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have wisdom, because you do. We've researched and we've learned about culture and we try to apply it in all that we do. But I want you to use that wisdom, but also be humble. So trauma-informed care is about being humble and listening to someone's story, because getting that, remember at the beginning, I said knowing their past and present. Of course, we won't know everything, but knowing more about them helps you to provide equity, giving them what they need, not what we expect that they need or not what we think that they need. Some of the resources that we give to our consumers are going to be the same, but how do we package that so that we can serve the person who is unique and that's in front of us? So we have to know that what we come in the door with is important, but what they want to share is important as well. Remember, treatment adherence is about them being a part of it. So if we're like, okay, tell me about you, then that helps to build trust and we respect them, although we may have differences. And then tell me how I can help serve you. And then we add on the stuff. You have great ideas. Let me see if I can add on some stuff that I know would help you. That's cultural humility. That's being sensitive. And that's showing equity. So that's important in the work that we do. So we're going to go to our next principle, safety and stability. Could someone read that for us? Nobody wants to read?
Sure, I'll read.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Trauma unpredictably violates our physical, social, and emotional safety, resulting in a sense of threat and need to manage risks. Increasing stability in our daily lives and having these core safety needs can minimize our stress reactions and allow us to focus our resources on wellness. Safety first.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you reading that for us. So when we create a safe environment, so again, I want to start with you. How do you create a safe environment for yourself in the work that you do? I will say for me, it starts before I get to work. So making sure I'm safe and stable so that I can do the best work that I can. So I have a routine, a daily routine that I do in the morning. One of my things is I go in my prayer closet to pray. Sometimes I don't get in the closet and I have to pray in the car, but I want to make sure that I start my day off with prayer so that I can be the best version of myself. So we're going back into the chat again. Tell me something that you do prior to getting to work that helps you feel safe and stable. Let's see what we have. What makes you feel safe and stable before you even get to work? What are some things that you already, I remind myself that people are more kind than I realize. I love that. That's beautiful. Yes. What else do we have? What do you do to make sure you are grounded and stay safe? Prayer, gratitude, love it. Gratitude's amazing. Drink a cup of tea, coffee, breakfast in the back garden. Oh, I love that. Yes, you're taking care of yourself so that you can be safe and stable coming in and starting your work day. Anyone else have any comments? Hiking, getting up and moving. Yes, making sure you do that to be safe and stable. Awesome. Thank you for sharing, everyone. So making sure you're increasing stability in your daily lives is key because that's routine. That's helping things move as smoothly as possible. So we want that throughout the organization, in the consumer's lives, and we want everyone to stay and feel physically and psychologically safe. So when we're working with, let's say, mature adults, which we're dealing with the aging community. So my mom is 80 years old. And so she feels most safe. Now she does text, but she feels most safe when I give her a call, right? And so I have to realize that we are different generations. And my generation texts, my kids' generation text, they text with squares and dots and all those other things. So I have to learn those pieces, but they text. So meeting my mom and helping her to feel safe is to talk to her. So the community that you're serving and you're working with, those mature adults, they want to be talked to help them feel safe. So making sure that we increase the safety and stability in the services that they provide. Even your colleagues, we're multi-generational. How do we work best together? Some people like emails, some people like Teams, some people like you to walk down their office or give them a call. So that's creating a safe environment. So I want to highlight the 4 things that help to have a safe environment. So one is physical safety. How do you feel in the space? Do you feel like the walls are falling down? Like I talked about those load-bearing walls. We don't want the walls to fall down. So do you feel safe in your environment? Do you feel safe where you are? Do you feel safe? So safety, physical safety and protection from harm is key. The next part of safety is social safety. And that's building positive relationships that can provide support and calming, as we talked about as it relates to stress, in time of needs. So that social safety, I have someone I can go to, is super important. I have someone to talk to. So bosses, my colleagues, and so for my consumers, my question for them is, who's your go-to? Who can you talk to when you're struggling? If we don't know that as a provider, that's something that we really, really want to lean into. Who can you go to? And some of our mature adults don't have someone to go to. Either their family has passed on or their family isn't paying attention to them or calling and checking on them. So who's next outside of me as a provider? Because I'm a formal provider. Who is your non-formal provider and your non-formal resources so that you can rely on them? So that's safety and social support that they may need. The other thing is emotional support, building skills and managing emotions. So again, we started off with breathing, deep breathing. That's a skill to manage those emotions. And so I also know dialectical behavioral therapy. And so we talk about riding the wave. So you're up here, you're stressed out, you're fight or flight mode. What are you going to do to ride the wave until you calm down? So it's important to provide that trauma-informed care to say to your consumers, what are we going to do to ride this wave to calm you down? So what do you need something to eat? Let's meet a safety need, a physiological need. Do you need something to eat? Can I get you crackers and water? What can I get you to do to ride the wave until we start getting that lid back on? So that's emotional safety. We need that so that we can continue to function and get our lids back on. The last thing is stability. How do we make sure things are stable? We talked about our routine, how we start our day and how we get in the office, and we might set the intentions for the day and check our schedule. And so those things to keep you stable at work are key as well. So when you're working, what are some things that keep you stable? Let's go back into the chat. Are you setting your intentions for the day? Are you reviewing your calendar? Are you checking your emails? Are you talking to colleagues? What are some things that are helping you have stability at work and routine? Write a to-do list. Love it. Yes. We want that stable routine. What is something else that you do to keep that stable routine? Review the daily to-do list I wrote the night before. Okay, so you're pre-planning and then you're reviewing your list. Yes, reviewing my operating rhythm. Yes, how is this working? Is this interrupted? Am I multitasking? Focusing on successes. I love that. What am I doing to be successful and stable during the day? Oh, somebody said you have reached the recording limit for the plan. Okay, so I'll keep going. So things to make you feel stable are important. Now let's do that parallel process. How are we making our consumers feel stable? When they call us, are we responding to them in a timely manner? Have we told them in advance? So when you call me, you have to give me 24 to 48 hours to respond to you. So setting that stability in advance. If you're doing an email, setting that stability. Okay, I'm out of the office. No. What are you doing for that? Setting that stability with your consumer by saying, okay, see if we can get you on a routine. So what does your routine look like now? That's all a part of trauma-informed care. So that is key in the process and the practice of implementing it. Last but not least, organizationally. How's that communication organizationally? Can you talk to your boss? Is your boss able to come back and give you some support? Or can you talk to the colleague? Have you asked, what are some better ways that the organization can communicate with each other, like rules or changes or things that we need to pass down to our consumer? That's important as well. So creating that safety and stability is key in trauma-informed care. All right, now we're at compassion and dependability. So you see my pattern. Does anybody want to read?
I'll read. Trauma-informed system, core guiding principle, compassion and dependability. Trauma is overwhelming and can leave us feeling isolated or betrayed, which may make it difficult to trust others and receive support. However, when we experience compassionate and dependable relationships, we reestablish trusting connections with others that foster mutual wellness.
Perfect. Thank you so much for reading. Yes, when we experience compassionate and dependable relationships. So let's go back to self. How am I developing those relationships in my life? It says, show yourself friendly. There's a saying that says, show yourself friendly so that you can have friends. So do you have that compassion for other people? Are you dependable with other people? If not, that's something you might want to look at in your life, that you want to be able to show these skills so that you can have someone to lean on or that they can lean on you. So all of us are in this field, in this professional field, so we might know this answer. So I'm going to give you a scenario and I want you to type the answer in the chat. When a baby is born, if no one touches them or talks to them or hums or sings to them, they will have the inability to do what? You can put it in the chat. That would be wonderful. They will have the inability to do what? Yes. Look at our professionals out there. Yes. Thrive. Yes. Survive. They will have the inability to thrive because we are naturally hardwired for relationships. It is healing. Thank you. Connect and trust. Thank you. I appreciate you all putting your comments in the chat. Yes. So just listen. A baby is born with that automatically in them. They're already hardwired for connection. It doesn't leave us. It stays with us throughout the course of our lives. We're hardwired for connection. Now, imagine those people that we serve that may have not developed those healthy relationships as they were younger, and they grew up and became adults, and they still struggle with the skill of building relationships. And then they become mature adults, and then they have lost their family members because nobody has wanted to deal with them. So it's hard for them to trust people because of that compassion and dependability may be lacking in them and lacking in their lives. So we want to make sure that we have good, healthy relationships so that we can serve well and then teach our consumers to build those relationships. So I don't know if they're struggling so much that they don't trust, but they may trust somebody a little bit. And so we crack that door open a little bit, like the person who lives in your community who you see walking, you say hi to. Can you say hi? And then maybe share some water with them, like supporting them in developing those skills, because we need people in our lives to support us. So again, we're back in this chat. I know you guys are going to be like, don't bring her back. She makes us work too hard, but that's okay. This is how we learn. Go back in the chat. Everybody should have a confidant. So who's your confidant? Is it your friend? Is it your coworker? Is it your spouse? Is it your parent? My mom? Yes. Who else do you have as your confidant? My mom is my confidant too. Friends, sisters, moms, my best friend. Yes. My best friend, my spouse, my partner. Yes. Husband, love it. Yes. We all need to have a confidant, someone we can trust with our tough things. My partner. Yes. So those are some things that we want to make sure are in our lives so that we can help to manage stress and be able to talk and bounce things off of. It's important. And so teaching that to our consumers is important as well. Awesome. We are going to our next principle. Someone can read that for us?
I can read it. Trauma involves a loss of power and control that makes us feel helpless. However, when we are prepared for and given real opportunities to make choices ourselves and our care, we feel empowered and can promote our own wellness and wellness of others.
Yes. Thank you for reading. Yes. When we are prepared for and give real opportunities to make choices. So I will say this, that again, when I was starting a very novice, young green clinician, I did not use that skill initially of showing or having the power in the room, right? So the power differences between staff and clients among organizational staff are leveled to support shared decision making. So actually, I was young, just got out of college. I really needed to bring myself down a bit. Just because I have a degree doesn't mean I'm this super expert, this super clinician. And then I was green, right? So bringing that down, that power imbalance, like just being natural, true to your compassionate self, and meet the person in the room, meet them where they are. Remember, I said there's two professionals in the room, or two experts, I should say, two experts in the room. They're the expert in their life, and I'm the expert in my field. And we want to partner together, kind of scaffolding our knowledge so that we can be successful. And then when we collaborate and then we empower, like you get to decide what are some things you would like to do? What are some things that we can do together? Can I help you? What can I help you with? Because most people who we're working with, their power has been removed or taken away. So when I was early on in my field, I started to work with youth who were in the foster system. And so they would be in their meetings and they did not have a voice. So they couldn't speak to what they wanted. And that's early on. Now it's nothing about me without me is the concept. So they have voice and choice. And that's what we want to instill and encourage in those that we serve, our consumers. We want to encourage their voice and choice and empower them, because the more we empower them, the more they're successful with reaching their goals. And their goals may not be the ones we think they can reach. It's what they think they can reach. Super powerful, empowering them so that they can be successful. And then once you empower them, you can maybe speak to them and say, I see you've done really good. You got your GED. Let's work on RCC. Maybe you want to go to a junior college, or jumping to our elderly culture. You like bingo. Do you want to maybe try and go to do bingo outside of this group? Let's try and go do it with more people. Just empowering them after you have helped them to develop the courage and the strength that they need to meet their own personal goals. That's what trauma-informed care is all about. All right. Resilience and recovery. Can somebody read this one for us?
I can read it. Oh, go ahead.
Core guiding principle, resilience and recovery. Trauma can have long-lasting and broad impact on our lives that may create a feeling of hopelessness. Yet, when we focus on our strength and clear steps we can take toward wellness, we are more likely to be resilient and recover.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yes. So I liken it so that we all can have a shared experience. The trauma that I share is COVID. COVID was traumatizing to us and still has a large impact on us. Some people lost their loved ones. Some people lost their jobs. Some people lost a lot of their livelihood. So that was a huge trauma on the world, right? But there's also something called post-traumatic growth. And so having the thought that we adapted in the face of adversity and we have the ability to bounce back. So just to set the stage that all of us went through COVID, I want to go in the chat again. This is our last time most likely to go in the chat. How many of you had post-traumatic growth? Meaning that during COVID, you learned to do something that you had not done before. And maybe if you had, just type in what you learned or that growth you had after COVID happened. For instance, I have locks. I didn't do my hair prior to COVID. During COVID, I had to learn how to do my locks. So now I do my locks for myself and my kids, right? So definitely. Some people were feeling abandoned in nursing homes. Yes, thank you for sharing that. Yep, that was traumatic during COVID. COVID long haulers may lost their health. Yes. So those were traumatic things. What are some post-traumatic growth after COVID? Yep. Okay, regularly now, the family scattered. Yes, this right here was growth out of COVID, right? We now can have meetings with different people across the world. Anything else you can think about is post-traumatic growth after COVID, just for you. I learned how to spend a long time. Empathy. Oh, you guys are going fast. I learned how to spend a long time wisely. Empathy. Learn how to make certain dishes. Working from home. Yes. So we had post-traumatic growth. Food gardening, better understanding how organizations deliver resources to individuals. Yes. So we learned a lot during that time frame. I started an at-home bakery. I love that. I need some cookies. I like chocolate chip cookies and walnuts inside would be wonderful. So yes, post-traumatic growth. So some of those things built strength and that helped us to build resilience. So we are more resilient now after COVID has happened because we learned skill. So I want us to be mindful. Resilience is like a muscle, right? If we go in the gym today and we pump some weights, we're going to walk out and we're going to look like we never pumped a weight in our lives, right? Unless some of you are really strong. But that muscle doesn't happen over a day. It happens over a course of a lifetime. So for you, if you have a little strength that you need to build, you work on it daily, as well as our consumers. We want to help build resilience in them. So we're looking at what strengths do you have that we can build upon in your service delivery. That's trauma-informed care, helping them be resilient so they can use their skills, their strengths outside of working with you and after working with you, right? And during working with you, we want to build that resilience, the ability that they can bounce back from a tough situation. All right. Did we go back? Yes, we went back. Let me go forward. Okay. So how do we put this into practice? And I'm wrapping up now. So how do we put this into practice? So as we talk about our skills today, our 6 guiding principles, we want to think about trauma and stress. So we want to work to not re-traumatize people. So know your biases and know how you show up in that relationship so that you don't re-traumatize. And know the resources. Don't send them somewhere that's not supportive and not reliable. The other one is cultural humility and equity, being willing to ask the question and be in the learning seat. Safety and stability, establish physical, social, emotional safety and stability. Compassion and dependability. Strong, positive relationships are central to the success of any intervention or action across many fields. So not only in mental health, but in other different fields, this is important, right? We want them to have the ability to thrive. Remembering compassion, collaboration, and empowerment, remembering that there's 2 experts in the room. I can learn from you, you can learn from me. And lastly, resilience and recovery. Our consumers and staff strengths are recognized and built on and validated. And so this is including a belief in resilience that we can bounce back, and that helps to heal trauma. So what now? When is trauma-informed care important? All the time. When you identify your bias, so you within yourself, remember we're starting with self, when is it important? When you identify those biases. When you feel stressed out, use your skills in the community. When you see others you can help, use those skills, because trauma-informed care doesn't start in the building, it starts outside of the building as well. Remembering that you can shift your perspective. So you might have a cultural bias, but you can shift your perspective from that. Also, shifting from what's wrong to what's happened to the person. When you're at work, of course, that's what we've talked about most of this time today. That's when you apply trauma-informed care and practices. And then when you see a policy that is so out of line, marginalizing, doesn't work for those people that we serve, bring it up. When you see something, say something. That is super, super important in trauma-informed care. We all have a part to play in healing and helping the system. Awesome. So we've gone through our points for today. The why behind trauma-informed care, the potential improvement that it brings in so many ways. The who behind trauma-informed care. It's not just our consumer. We want to be trauma-informed when we're working with our coworker and when we're focusing on self. The what in trauma-informed care. We went through those 6 principles that are the guiding principles as well as the load-bearing walls in trauma-informed care. The how. Remember, putting it into practice. We want to put those skills into practice. And the when. The when is now, and it's every day in every way in your life. That's what trauma-informed care is. Now that you've heard my presentation, what trauma-informed practice or action will you be taking today? Go ahead and put it into the chat. What is one thing you're going to start doing today? Oh, someone says save some from home, my cookies. All right, what practices will you start putting in today? And this is a no judgment zone. We all have work to do. Thinking about post-traumatic growth. Awesome. Reach out for support from loved ones when I need it. Yes. Sometimes we just don't reach out. I can do it myself. I can do it myself. And so we need that support so that we can have more safety and stability in our house or in our lives. Are there any more things that maybe you would do to implement trauma-informed practices or actions? Or if you're already doing it, what can you just improve on already? Are you taking your breaks? Do you move away from your desk to eat your lunch? I know I don't. I'm terrible with that. Any other comments? What trauma-informed practices or actions will you do today? Working on my cultural humility. I love that. Yes. What else? Orient myself with a few minutes outside to do more effective work. Take a minute before I start working on something that has affected me personally. Yes, yes. When I'm stressed out about this task, let me pause. Be aware of my needs. Yes, I love all of that. Okay. I will say thank you, everyone, for this time. I know I went fast, but I appreciate you giving me time and space in your place to share trauma-informed care. I'm going to stop sharing, and I have a few minutes for questions, if that's okay. You are welcome so much.
Yes, thank you, Nisha. This was awesome. I really loved your presentation and how you engaged everyone. I guess for me personally, what I've learned most is that the trauma-informed care starts with you, with ourselves first. You know, when we set up this presentation, I'm thinking of enhancing skills for the consumer, you know, to provide better services. But like you said, it starts with us.
Yes.
And so I love that about your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anybody have any questions for Nisha?
Thank you, Nisha. I don't type well, so I wasn't able to respond to a lot of your asks, but I enjoyed your talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming off the mic to share with me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Thank you so much. I see some comments. I'm in such a great mood. Feel free. Okay, beautiful. You're welcome.
I think we're going to bring you back. We loved your energy.
I would love to do that. This is my favorite thing to do. So thank you.
So please, all of you, we have a post survey, so please fill that out as you log off to continue your day and give us, you know, what you thought about the presentation and thoughts about other topics that you would like us to have. This is a coalition for all of you, right? The Inland Coalition on Aging is for all of you professionals providing services to older adults, adults with disabilities, and caregivers. And so we definitely need to work together to help serve our clients, but then also work together to help ourselves, right? So that we can be better and stronger providers. Our next meeting is Tuesday, April 22nd from 11 to 12 p.m. So please make sure that you have the right link to log on in a month. And then again, just a reminder, anyone who's interested in participating in some advocacy on May 6th and 7th, please send us an email letting us know so we can collaborate and coordinate to speak to our local legislators. I thought that this presentation was perfect because there is a lot of trauma and drama going on right now everywhere, federally, in the state, even within our organization's uncertainty. Very appropriate presentation. And so I also ask you then to help us with the advocacy component of everything that's going on. And join us on May 6th and 7th for senior advocacy. Please email us at info@inlandaging.org if you're interested in helping us out. And so once again, our next meeting is Tuesday, April 22nd. Thanks again, Nisha, for your wonderful presentation. Everybody, you have 5 minutes left in your day. Take a walk, take a drink of coffee, lunch, early lunch. We give you 5 minutes back to your day. Thank you all for participating.